Hi, I'm Caroline, and I'm going to be talking about schizophrenia in Ebdrup's study in 2010. So, what is schizophrenia? Schizophrenia is a psychological disorder that impacts a person's way to think, feel, and behave clearly. The definitive cause of schizophrenia is still unknown, but a mix of genetics, environment, and adjusted brain chemistry could play a part in it. So, what are the symptoms? There are a gazillion symptoms that I couldn't possibly put them all on this slide. Some can include, but are not limited to, thoughts or experiences that are just out of touch with reality, jumbled speech or awkward behavior, and reduced participation in daily life. Trouble with concentration and memory can also play a role here. So treatments for schizophrenia, they vary from person to person, but they mainly consist of therapies and medications. These are usually lifelong treatments. Medications are typically antipsychotics and antitremors. Therapies can include support groups, group psychotherapy, rehab, cognitive therapy, psychoeducation, family therapy, and behavioral therapy. So this is the overview of the study. Expanded ventricles and hippocampal volume are frequently discovered in patients that are diagnosed with first episode schizophrenia. Studies going into the brain structure in antipsychotic patients have mostly concentrated on the striatum. I think that's how you say that word. In this particular study, researchers examined if ventricular enlargement and hippocampal volume reductions are structural characteristics of antipsychotic, naive, first episode schizophrenia. So what did they do? So they got, and I'm using this in quotes, a high-resolution 3-dimensional T1 weighted magnetic resonance imaging scans for 38 antipsychotic naive first episode schizophrenia patients and 43 matched healthy controls by utilizing a 3T scanner. They distorted the brain scans to each other by using a, quote, high-dimensional inter-subject registration algorithm, end quote. They also executed, quote, voxel-wise group comparisons with permutation tests, end quote. The researchers carried out small volume correction for the hippocampus caudate, I think that's how you say it, and ventricles by use of a false discovery rate correction to control the multiple comparisons. They acquired and examined evaluations of basic brain structure volumes. They finally put patients into groups of with or without lifetime substance abuse to determine the effects of substance abuse in schizophrenia. So what did they discover? They discovered that the hippocampal and caudate volumes were lower in patients diagnosed with first episode schizophrenia. They found no ventricular enlargement, distinctions in global volume, or major affiliations between tissue volume and the length of untreated illness and psychopathology. The hippocampal volume reduction seemed to be controlled by prior substance abuse, and exploratory data concluded reduced volume of the nucleus musus in patients with first episode schizophrenia. So they had limitations. This study was not an authoritative test designed to contrasts for between schizophrenia patients that have a history of substance abuse or not. So conclusion, the reductions in the hippocampal volume may account for structural characteristics in antipsychotic naive first episode schizophrenia patients. However, the clinical inferences of these findings are obscure. Quote, moreover, past substance abuse may accentuate hippocampal volume reduction. Magnetic resonance imaging studies addressing the potential effects of substance abuse in antipsychotic naive first episode schizophrenia patients are warranted. So I know I just threw a lot at you guys. Personally, I found this a bit confusing. I didn't understand much of the terminology being used, and I had a difficult time understanding what they were trying to research. I had a very hard time figuring out what certain terms meant. For instance, like hippocampal volume, I couldn't for the life of me figure out on Google what it was. So it made this research study a bit more challenging, but I tried the best I could, and I hope you were just able to follow along with me. If I made you more confused, I'm really sorry. I'm in the same boat as you. And that's my works cited. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I'm welcome to your comments and compliments. Have a good one.